Welcome back to the build. In this next episode here, we're going to be jumping around a little bit. We're putting in a different set of seats. We're doing some weight reduction, getting a lot of stuff painted black. I'm starting to work on the intake manifold a little bit and building an exhaust. I'll show you the car here now that it's down on the ground. I'm doing the seat install. In the back, I've already got one of them tacked right onto the rail. The existing ear is still there. I just welded underneath of it. What I did is I bolted this piece in and then sat this down. It actually had a little ridge that piece sat behind. Grinded them both down. Over here, I had to get a different piece of just bracket. I've got some weld that's triangulated in there in the back to give that more strength than that looks like it would have. But when that comes out, we're gonna bend this tab over with a hammer and get that real nice and strong. But the next step here in the front, I've got a piece here. I'm gonna bolt that piece right in. You can see the bolt hole lines up, and then I'm gonna weld here, and I'm gonna weld there. I'm gonna remove it from the car, weld the back side of this, and then I'm gonna grind the welds down, get everything nice and painted black. On this one, you can see I've got a little bit of work to do still. That hole doesn't quite line up properly, but if I just grind a little bit off of the top of this, it'll allow it to come up further, and then it will line up just fine. Also, guys, I've been working on some exhaust here. They are carbon fiber. They're actually carbon too. They are extremely, extremely lightweight. This whole axle back only weighs about maybe 30 pounds. I'm not the greatest welder in the world here, guys, but you can see there's been a bunch of custom work here done. These are what you call pie cuts, and it allows me to be able to make any bend I want. And you can see here, I wanted to be able to come down and then back up, just have enough room to clear this control arm. I do plan on lifting the vehicle just a little bit more than it is, so I wanted enough room so that if I got some air or something, this thing would be okay. And then back here, you can see this here, it looks like it's still a skinny pipe. It's actually a 3-inch that I have ovaled in my work vise. So the plan to use the oval is because I want to get as much ground clearance as possible. The old exhaust on this used to sit about this low, and it was that low all the way to about here. And then even the mufflers, instead of the mufflers being here, they used to hang down to about here. And then, the tips only didn't come out far enough. I didn't like anything about the setup. So the next step on this, I don't want to build too much more of the exhaust until I have the rear diff back in its home. We're doing a diff swap on this because it's also getting a trans swap. So you can see this one here. This is my 3.583 rear diff. This is the 4.44, which is going to give me a lot more mechanical advantage. The one thing I did run into last night, I had to do a little bit of research, just a little Google image searching, but you can see there's 2 holes here, and then there's 2 castings right here, but that is in no way something that it doesn't look like that. It's just a little casting. This one right here, however, has all 4 holes. This is a WRX style, and this is the Legacy Outback style. I looked, there's a lot of people that just leave these. The holes get kind of rusty because they only use these 2 and the studs on the back. At first, I thought I was going to need to make up a plate that was extended, but I looked and there's plenty of people with upgrades that are just running these 2 with nothing. It's just 2 different styles. The car that uses all 4 of these, instead of bolting to this with the bushings, they actually bolt right up to the floor. And that would happen like right up in this tunnel here. But mine has the dog bone style mount. What I have done today If you're not familiar with what a Celica GT seats look like, this is a pair right here. This area here used to be more of a gray. Same thing down here. They had some stains on them. You can see there's a burn or two and a couple of rips, but I mean, all in all, from a few feet away, these things look spectacular now. Also, they used to be gray down here where the plastics are, all the knobs and everything. And the backs of them were really ugly gray as well. So I got those painted up black. You can see I've already got the brackets mocked up. These will bolt right into my Subaru. I was going to throw our Diff in here, but the Diff is black and shiny, and I had everything shiny on the car on the underneath for the whole front except for the control arms. So I went back and we cleaned up all the rust on these seams and these welds. There's very little left to black out on this, just the inside of these arches. I'm obviously going to leave the springs and the struts alone. I don't want to paint the yellow Bilsteins black because everybody knows the Bilstein is like the Spec B setup. So I've got that with King springs on here. That gives me about, it's like a 10 millimeter lift for a sedan, but since this is a wagon with the sedan setup on it, it was more like a 15 mil lift. It worked out really well. Up front, I've got some, you see the red pieces in there. That's actually way thicker than the original piece. So I've got about a half an inch lift up front as well. I'm just toying with what I'm going to do with the manifold here. I may be chopping the manifold right here and then seeing how close I am to the supercharger. On this side, I've got a lot more room. There's a good 4-5 inches there. On this side, I've got a lot less room. It's more like 3.5. So that's going to dictate what's going to happen here with the manifold. We may have to just come right up and straight out. I'm toying with the idea of just either chopping this here or chopping it there. This is the manifold and everything that we were working on previously. This is a monster. I mean, this stuff's just huge. So this is what we're going to build the plenum out of. And next time. All right, guys, thanks for tuning in. Sorry we jumped around so much. I was waiting on some parts while filming this, which is why we weren't able to get right into the intake manifold. Next episode, we're going to get the manifold completely done. Tune in, I'll see you then.
Baby, there you are. The years went on and she grew cold. Never saw us heading down this road. Now we're past the point of no return, and all the pain's been washed with roses. Cried those tears and wiped our noses. Can't go back the way things were. Even if I did this hurt, what do we do this far along? Close to the end now, like this song. Mustn't waste more time, you see, 'cause I've got plans involving me. You're not in these plans for me. What I do is not for free. Since you've been gone, what have you